Question number 26 should worry you, okay? You've got to sense the difficulty of this question. First and foremost, it's a number 26 out of 30 multiple choice in this section. So we're at the point where things are going to be hard. So we should expect a difficult question no matter what. More important, this question involves percentages, and percentages are notoriously tricky on the SAT. They use percentages to mess with you. So what I have done in my study guides and right now is I have created a formula. Let's fix it this way. A formula called the open formula that keeps track of percentages. It's specifically designed to help us with the way that SATs ask about percentages. So what do all these pieces stand for? O stands for the original number. P stands for the percentage, and specifically when we have phrases like 20% more than, right? Whenever that word than appears with percentages, we are generally going to use a version of the percentage that involves 1 plus or minus. Basically, the 1 represents the current situation, and then more than, less than means we're either adding or subtracting some percentage. And so the 1 plus or minus kind of accounts for that. It's safer. It might not be automatic right away. You'll need practice with it, but it is a safer way to think about percentages. E stands for equals, and then N stands for the new amount. Now, a lot of times with percentages, time is passing. So it's easy for us to say, okay, this is the original, this is the new, because this is what we have now, and then later on, this new value will be what we have. This doesn't seem to have a time component, but there is still an original value, and this is why the open formula is so helpful, because it's very intuitive, okay? We can pretty much always just follow what the story says without really any critical thinking, and we should be fine. So use the percentage piece. It says, type A trees produce 20% more pears than type B. That's our key phrase. So the part here that's intuitive is 20% more than, okay? So that means the P portion is going to be plus. More than, intuitively, in my formula, will turn into a plus. So we're good. And we always want to write our percentage as a decimal, so that's going to be 20% more is 0.2, okay? So the other piece here, the original number, is going to be the than portion, okay? Because we're basing our value for A on B. We originally have whatever number B has as the number of pairs. Then we increase it by 20% and get the A value. So it's not about time, but it's about like a relationship, and it's about like what we're starting. What are we taking a percentage of? What's our base value for the percentage? And so in this case, it's B. And I think that is really why this question is so hard. We would expect A to come first. Nope, SAT flipped it on us. And so let's simplify here. We do have a value for A. It's 144. So we can start to do some simplification. This is going to be 1.2. And now this is the big twist, the one that the SAT loves to use when they deal with percentages, is that instead of multiplying, we're going to solve by dividing. Now you'll see that the formula still involves multiplication. The difference is that they gave us something or they didn't give us the thing that we're multiplying by, right? They didn't give us B. And so to solve the actual equation, we don't end up multiplying, we end up dividing, and we get 144 divided by 1.2, which is 120, which is B, which is the answer. Okay, so where do people go wrong? Well, mostly what they do is they kind of follow this normal robotic way of taking percentages. They do 144, they get 20% of it, so they multiply by 0.2. 144 times 0.2 is, 144 times 0.2 is 28.8. And they say, oh, okay, well, if type A has 20% more than type B, I can just subtract that away. 144 minus 28.8 and we get 115.2, which isn't perfect, but is pretty darn close to choice A. And that is a very common mistake. I have a feeling that if you got this wrong, that's probably what you picked. And so this is a thing we need to prevent, because those numbers are very close to each other in the grand scheme of things. So if you make this mistake, it's not like the number is going to just be so obviously wrong that you'll notice it. We need the formula. The formula keeps us on the right path. There are lots of ways that I learned about percentages in school. I learned like 3 different formulas that are used in all sorts of different situations. The benefit of the one that I've made here, this open formula, is that it really tries to just stick to the same exact pattern no matter what. And it keeps the intuitive stories intuitive, right? It keeps it so that if we're talking about something being a percent more than, it's going to involve a plus. If it's a percent less than, it's going to have a minus in those parentheses there. So I strongly encourage you to find a way to deal with percentages that is consistent. If it's not my way, that's fine. But it's got to be consistent, because the SAT loves to use the percentage questions to mess with you. So if you don't have a good system, they're going to get you. And you've got to be organized. And whatever way you choose, it's got to be consistent no matter what you're given, because a lot of times you're going to end up dividing, which is counterintuitive, than what we're normally doing, which is multiplying. Hopefully I've scared you enough that you've got at least a plan to get better at these, because these are totally gettable questions. They're just easy to mess up if we don't have a formula. So sense the difficulty, learn the formula, and hopefully get all these right.